What is going on, guys? We are back. We are back for another episode of the podcast. So we're going to get into it right away because, plain and simple, I'm excited for this topic. This is something that's been on my mind a lot. And today we are talking about how dreams die in your comfort zone. And we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the number one show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I am your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are talking about how dreams die in your comfort zone. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this one to you guys, the reason that this has been on my mind a lot is because, plain and simple, it's the truth. And whether it's for me building a business, whether it's for you guys building a career, trying to achieve a certain goal, one of the biggest keys that I've found over the entire time I've been in business, one of the biggest keys that I've found the entire time I've been working on growing my business is as soon as I get comfortable, things stop growing. As soon as I just say, oh, I'm just good where I'm at, I don't need to make another move or do another thing, things stop growing. And I came to realize this, within kind of the last couple of years, that every time I have that thought in my head of this is going to be really hard. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a risk. Whenever I move towards that risk, whenever I make that decision, whenever I go forward, better things come of it. But whenever I step back away from that risk, whenever I don't do it because, it might be too hard or it might not work or whatever else, nothing changes. And this is something that I notice a lot with athletes as well, right? When you are starting to build your career, the first instinct is we don't want to get rid of comfort. Obviously fighting is uncomfortable, training hard is uncomfortable and all of that, but you get comfortable in that discomfort, right? You get comfortable showing up to the gym every day, punching people in the face, having people punch you in the face, doing all of that. But then as you get going a little bit more, as you start training a little bit more, as you start working more towards this being a career and not just a fun thing that you do a few times a week that, you kind of enjoy, that discomfort takes shape in different areas. One of the first ones is always hiring coaches, right? When it comes to bringing on a strength and conditioning coach, when it comes to bringing on a nutritionist, working with, physiotherapists, doing rehab work or whatever, it's uncomfortable because you're investing money into something without any guarantee of return, right? Who can relate to that? You're investing money into something without any guarantee of return. You're paying this coach and you're saying, hey, I want you to help me in this area. And you don't know for sure that it's going to work. But then if you hire the right people, obviously it starts working. You start improving. You start seeing the benefit of having that extra person on your team. And then over time, you start to get comfortable within that discomfort. And all of a sudden, putting that extra money towards rehab work, putting that extra money towards strength and conditioning, nutrition, whatever else it might be, isn't uncomfortable anymore. Then, as you keep going forward, as you keep moving forward in your career, you keep reaching higher and higher levels, other opportunities come up. Other potentially uncomfortable situations come up. I know I have one athlete recently who is going through a change in his gym, and it wasn't because his gym did anything wrong. It wasn't because he didn't like where he was training, but his coaches straight up told him, hey, we're more of a beginner gym, and you're getting to that point where you need more than what we can provide. So he had a choice to make. Do I either stay at this gym that, I've been at for the last however many years, and they've helped me through the first 6 or 7 fights of my career, and I've gotten to know all these people and I've improved and I've done all these things? Or do I make the uncomfortable decision to change gyms to this more advanced place with higher level coaches? He's a 20-year-old amateur now working with UFC fighters directly. And he made the choice to make the change. And the reason he made the choice to make the change was because he understood that as much as it was uncomfortable to get away from this gym that he had grown to love and be part of the family and all of that, going to this new gym was going to be the benefit for his career. Going to the new gym was going to be the benefit for the career that he needed to build the career that he actually wants. Because when that discomfort starts to come up, it's very easy to stick yourself with, but there's a reason that I shouldn't do it. This guy could have come back and been like, well, but these coaches know me so well that it's going to be best for me to stay with them. But he made the decision and he understood that even though these coaches know him so well, even though instead of being one of the best guys at the gym he was at now, he was going to go to this new gym and be the bottom of the barrel, that was the move he needed to make. Even though every single day there is hard, it's uncomfortable, he's leaving sore and in pain and, experiencing things he's not used to experiencing. He understands that experiencing these things are crucial to his growth and are crucial to him making it to the UFC, which has been a dream of his since he was 15. And that is the move. That is the way to do it. When you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, you grow. And I understand as well, guys, because those things are hard to face, right? Over the last couple of years, I've started building a team in the back end of my business. So I'm still the face of everything. I still create the programs. I still deliver to all the athletes. But I have a team in order to help me make those things easier to be able to reach more people. Now, as I started doing this, that involved paying people to do work that I could do myself. That's a difficult thing for me to face because, number one, I grew up in a family that was very much all for saving money at all costs. Number two, I like my money. I don't want to give it away. Number three, I can be a bit of a perfectionist with some of these things. So trusting someone else to do jobs in the back end of my business was very difficult for me. But I started realizing that my goal is to impact athletes around the world. My goal is to reach more people. My goal is to make a large scale change in our industry and the way that athletes train forever. Like 20, 30, 40 years from now, I want what our industry looks like to be drastically different because I am in it. And if I'm going to achieve a high level goal like that, I can't reach enough people by myself. I can't work with enough people by myself. I can't do enough to have that kind of impact on my own. So I needed to get past that discomfort, build that team, start putting the right people in the right positions for me to be able to reach more athletes. And as I started doing that, there were so many days that literally I wouldn't sleep because I'm like, oh my God, I'm paying all these people money and like I could just do this work myself. And oh, this one person made a mistake. And if I'd been doing that, I wouldn't have made that mistake. And then I had to realize that now that was a new level. That's a new level in a career, right? You have those people. And now instead of me just delivering to athletes, I also have to train a team and then deliver to the athletes. And as much as that's difficult, when you have high level goals, those difficult things are going to come up and you have two choices. I guess you have a choice, two different options when those difficult things come up. Either A, I could have backed off. I could have said, nope, I'm going to do everything with myself forever. I'm not going to have any assistance or help or anything, and made a much smaller impact on many less people and not be nearly as far in my career as I am. Or B, I could say, holy fuck, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be scary. I'm going to get anxiety. I'm going to struggle with this. But I'm going to put these people in these positions and I'm going to grow this business bigger. I'm going to reach more athletes. I'm going to help more people and I'm going to have the fucking impact that I want to have. And by choosing option 2, I've been able to grow the business about 5 times the size it was just 2 years ago, have rock stars on my team that are helping me deliver a better product, a better service to all of my athletes. And in turn, we are well on the way to making that impact that I've said I've wanted to make since I was in my teens. And the other thing as well is along that path, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, it's easy. Just hire the coaches, just, hire the nutritionist, change gyms, do all the shit. It's easy. It's no problem. But you've got to recognize that discomfort feeling. You've got to recognize that uncomfortable feeling. You've got to recognize that feeling when you think about a decision you've got to make and you go, oh shit, how am I going to do this? And you've got to learn that when that feeling comes up, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Naturally, we're built to strive for comfort. So when that feeling comes up, we want to step into, no, this is going to be easier. This is going to be more comfortable. I'll just figure out my strength and conditioning on my own. I don't need a coach. Guys, the information's all out there, but the misinformation's all out there too. So yeah, maybe you can figure out some good stuff on your own, but you're probably going to figure out a lot of the bad stuff on your own too and have a mix of both, which is going to end up costing you more with time in the long run. Oh, I can get myself down to weight. I don't need someone helping me with that. Same idea. Maybe you can get to weight, but how do you feel the next day when you fight? Whereas when you hire somebody like Coach TJW on Instagram, go check him out, then he's going to be able to get you down to weight but you're also going to perform at your best because he knows how to rehydrate you and he knows exactly what you need to consume at exactly what time to feel your absolute best every time you fight. And so having that professional in place positively impacts the performances. You positively impact your performance, you positively impact your career, right? And it's plain as day, simple that is how that's going to work. But I understand the feeling of wanting to save money. I understand the feeling of, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if this is the right move for me, because it is a difficult thing to do. But I'm going to tell you here as well, one of the most difficult things that you will ever face, and I know because I've seen this with athletes firsthand as well, one of the most difficult things you will ever face is being past the prime of your career and then regretting the fact that you didn't make those decisions that could have helped you make it. Because, yeah, it's difficult to invest that extra money, invest that extra time, make the move to that new gym, whatever it might be. But it's even more difficult to be 47 and think, shit, what could I have done if I made the move to that new gym? What could I have done if I had a proper strength coach, a proper nutritionist, a proper physio and rehab people working with me? How far could I have gone if I had had that team around me? And the thing you need to understand as well on that note, guys, is you don't have all the answers, and that's okay, right? To this day, I still don't have all the answers when it comes to strength and conditioning. I'm always looking for more, and I'm always trying to study it. I'm always trying to grow and improve, but I still don't have all the answers for that. But that, again, is why I continue to learn and I continue to grow. But if you're trying to figure out all of those things on your own and you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is and hire the people you need to help you achieve these things, then you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay stuck for a lot longer. And that is going to be way worse than that discomfort of making that investment in yourself. One of my favorite examples when I talk about this stuff from my own experience is when I hired my business coaches. Guys, before hiring them, I was getting through the months and I was okay. And, things were fine. And I had some help from, some other friends that were running businesses that were kind of, giving me a couple tips here and there. But in 2 years working with these people, my business has not just grown, it's 6x'd in size. It is 5 or 6 times. I can't remember the exact figures, but it's 5 or 6 times the size it was 2 years ago. I have a team of 4 people when I had nobody 2 years ago. And these kind of changes are possible when you put the right professionals in place, right? If you're trying to figure out your nutrition on your own, could you get yourself down to the right weight class? Maybe. But are you going to feel good when you do it? Probably not. Cutting weight's hard. There's a lot of science to it. I don't pretend to understand it. I send my athletes to TJ. That's not my lane. If you're figuring out your strength and conditioning on your own, are you going to get good workouts in? Yeah. Are they going to properly peak you the right way for the right day so that you feel your best every time you fight? Probably fucking not. And I say that because I have athletes send me workouts all the time that, they took one thing that I said in my videos and then they took another thing that they said from this guy and then they took another thing that they said from this guy and then they jumbled it all together and they go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And there's tons of stuff wrong with it because while you're training, I'm studying strength and conditioning. While you're at the gym, I'm learning more strength and conditioning. While you're doing whatever, I am continuing to educate myself, continuing to write programs, continuing to tweak and adjust programs based off specific athletes, and continuing to level up my knowledge in that one specific space. So who's going to have more knowledge, you or me? Me. Same idea with the nutrition, right? You talk the same thing, but about TJ, the guy I've mentioned a couple times here. Same thing about physiotherapy. You try to rehab your own injuries. Can you figure some stuff out online? For sure. Is it going to be more beneficial to have someone who's an injury rehab specialist? 1,000%. But that discomfort that you feel, that desire to stay comfortable, that desire to stay in your comfort zone is what's going to hold you back. That's going to be what makes you make that justification of, I don't need the nutritionist. I don't need the strength and conditioning. I'll figure this stuff out on my own. That's you trying to stay comfortable, you trying not to get uncomfortable and make that investment in yourself. And if you're not willing to get uncomfortable and make the investment in yourself, then you're going to stay stuck. But if you are willing to make those adjustments, if you are willing to get uncomfortable, if you are willing to level yourself up in that way, then you are going to push past the rest. Because plain and simple, guys, if you have a big goal, like I mentioned mine, but if you have a big goal for your career, if you want to reach the top level in the world, if you want to compete with the best, if you want to do all these things that I hear so many of you say to me every single day, you need to understand that you're not going to get there by doing the same things as everybody else. You're not going to get there by just figuring it out on your own. You're not going to get there by just, showing up to the gym and working hard. That is what everyone is doing. And if you want a 1% life, you have to act as a 1% individual. You have to be willing to make those investments, do those things, go to those extra practices, do all of those things that other people aren't willing to do. So the dream dies in the comfort zone. And the dream dies in the comfort zone because if the comfort zone is where you stay, you're in the same place as everybody else. But the second you're willing to go above and beyond, make those decisions, make those investments, is where you can start to separate yourself from the pack. So guys, that is it. That is all. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next episode.